Hello guys, I do apologise, we are back live and racing with the SOP Motorsport powered by Coach Dave Academy, race number 2. We just got connected just for a second then, so we are seeing some of the front runners and riders coming to complete their pit stops, so we'll pick up the action at the front of the field. Twitch Wake is leading them around. He's still to complete his pit stop. THKKR is now only 0.8 of a second behind then, so whilst we got disconnected, which I do apologise for guys, THKKR has managed to close up within 1 second of Wake, so I wonder if Wake is just struggling with that setup of that Porsche right now. So whilst Militant 95 was very unlucky in his collisions, it's all to play for at the front of the field once again, as we do have Porsche running first, second and third. Jamer is into the pits, who was holding net P4, so he's going to drop back down to the field. So Chromedix is the lead runner and rider who have completed their pit stops, as we see Hagee get it all wrong then on the exit of the final turn. But ERS Chromedix is P5 then, he's the lead driver to have completed his pit stop. I wonder what type of headway he can make on AGS, THKKR and Wake then, who are your leading trio of Porsches. Wake is only 0.7 ahead of THKKR, so he's going to be doing... Oh, he's all wide then, as is the BMW. I wonder if Wake is really struggling as up the inside THKKR goes. We have a new race leader, ladies and gentlemen. THKKR takes up the running. He is leading the way in race number 2 of this Coach Dave Academy sponsored event. The number 14 machine comes around lap number 28 to start lap number 29 as the race leader. Twitch Wake just drops down into that second place. He's already a second behind then, so he must have setup problems then. I wonder if he's going to be coming into the pits, as he doesn't want to lose too much time to THKKR. You can see that rear of Wake's just starting to slide then, so certainly unsettled in these damp conditions. Track temperatures down to 25 degrees, so I wonder if his tyre temperatures have just dropped out with that perfect operating window, and THKKR has found his sweet spot because he is motoring away already 1.5 seconds ahead. THKKR, he's got that Porsche machine working beautifully for him. AJS is in third and just crossing the start finish line straight. So he's about a quarter of a lap down on the guys just ahead, but he still does have a pit stop to do. ERS Chromedix is coming around the final turn, so that gives you some sort of indication of how spread out these guys are. He should appear in P3 ahead of AJS once those guys ahead of him complete a pit stop. Militant 95 finds himself back up into 5th place then, after what was such a dramatic and eventful situation which unfolded with the Mercedes drivers of Shaka Zulu and Rasta Rebel at the rear of the field. He was lapping some back markers just a few laps earlier, and he just made contact with one of them and picked up some front end damage. Very unfortunate there indeed. I'm sure nothing was intentional, but we might see him in the steward's room after this event. But we see THKKR and Wake coming to the pits together then, so this is going to be battle of the pit stops. We will see who emerges in the lead, who takes up the race lead out of THKKR and Twitch Wake, as we lose another driver to connection issues. Very unfortunate there. So these guys are on identical pit stop strategies then. They're going to be taking on the same amount of fuel. They're both going to be changing tyres, so it is going to be a race to the flag once these guys come back out. Who's going to be in the better tyre operating window? Who's going to have the better setup for the remainder of this race? They both exit the pits together then. THKKR will resume the race lead. AGS does take up the race lead right now, but he still does have his pit stop to make. Where is Chromedix then? Where does he appear? He's a hole straight down on Twitchwake and THKKR then. So 7 seconds adrift of those guys at the front of the field. THKKR just needs to get his tyres and brakes back up into the perfect operating window. But look at Twitchwake then, he's falling back all of a sudden. He's got 4 seconds back to THKKR, so THKKR has certainly made that pit stop window work in his favour. Chromedix there holding 4th. Militant 12 seconds further afield then in 5th place. He won't be happy with 5th. He was challenging for the race win. 37 minutes remaining. Anything can happen in those 37 minutes. He just needs to keep his head down. ADS takes up 6th. Ray Steve is 7th. J-Mir is 8th. Mr. Death Zone finds himself into P9 then. His dash moves up to 10th. So who have we lost? We seem to have lost Hagee. Hagee was running up in P10. That's very unfortunate. He did have ping issues earlier on and he seems to have lost connection this time around. Very unfortunate for Hagee. Hopefully he pops in the chat to confirm such things. Yes, I'm out guys. Disconnected and straight on into the wall at 230 miles an hour. Very unfortunate for Hagee then. He does suffer with some connection issues every now and again, which is very unfortunate because he's a very fast driver. He was on for driver of the day in my eyes. He'd made up almost 10 positions in this race after falling to the rear of the field at the beginning of race number 2. He was up into P10. He was a fantastic comeback drive. But there will be no such things as he has lost connection and he is out of the running. THKKR is only 7 seconds adrift of AJS, so that gives you some indication of where AJS will come out. He will drop behind THKKR, he will drop behind Wake, he will drop behind Chromedix, and he might come out into the clutches of Militant and ADS. But Chromedix now is all over the back of Twitchwake then. We're right on board with Chromedix in this battle for P3, which will become P2 once AJS completes his pit stop. Twitchwake isn't a happy bunny right now in that Porsche machine. He's fallen right off of the tail of THKKR. Fantastic drive from THKKR then, who's inherited this race lead after misfortune of others and racecraft of his own, because he found a way past Wake and he's just pulled that gap out to 6 seconds after the pit stop phase. Fantastic race from THKKR. Wake is holding 2nd currently. Chromedix is there in 4th in that Lamborghini. Can he make way past? He's half a second adrift. Yeah, if Militant can come back and grab a podium position, that will be something special, and that will certainly be a driver of the day contender after being taken out from the race lead. So one to watch is Militant 95. He's 10 seconds adrift of Chromedix, who is hounding Wake at the minute. So 35 minutes remaining and 10 seconds to find, which is going to be a tough task because Wake and Chromedix are no slow coaches, as these two battle then for what will be P2. Chromedix all over the back of that Porsche machine of Wake. He's going to be looking for a way past sometime soon. Is he looking up the inside? He doesn't look this time around. Wake defends that position. He makes his push as wide as he can, as Chromedix just tucks in behind him then for another lap. Yeah, THKKR is certainly flying then in that Porsche machine out in front. Seven seconds is the lead from THKKR and Twitchwake, who is just coming up to lap what must be Texas MC in the pink and purple. No, it's going to be AJS obviously in the lead. AJS is the net race leader right now, but he is the final driver to make a pit stop. So THKKR is racing for position. He's only 3.4 seconds behind the race leader right now. He doesn't need to fight him, he doesn't need to do anything stupid because AJS still needs to pit. He's going to drop at least 30 seconds behind this front trio of THKKR, Wake and Chromedix. When is he going to come in to make his pit stop? Is it this time round on lap number 32? We will ride on board with AJS to find out. Looks like he isn't coming into the pits then, so he's coming round for another lap. 33 minutes remaining in this race. THKKR only 2.1 seconds back. He's going to be all over the back of him this lap. He's going to be in the slipstream. He's going to be wanting to take back that race lead, as Twitch Wake is being hounded by Chromedix. Only 0.6 seconds separate Wake and Chromedix. Militant a bit further back then on these third and fourth place guys, but 9.2 is the gap, so he's gained 1.5 seconds on that last lap because Chromedix and Wake is battling it out for P3, which will become P2. That's one to watch, guys. Can Militant close that gap before the end of this race? 32 minutes remaining. ADS then just a bit further back from Militant, 5.9 seconds in 6th place. Jamer in the other Bentley machine running 7th, the 357 machine. The lovely British livery on the Bentley. Had an uneventful race as Jamer. He's had a solid drive in P7, hasn't really put a foot wrong. Same as Ray Steve in P8 and Mr. Death Zone in P9. They're having a very consistent, strong race, these guys, just inside the top 10. So yeah, this is a good battle to hone in on it. AMG, thank you for pointing it out. We got Matt, Texas and Dash all doing battle for P12, 13 and 14. We'll ride on board with Texas in the pink and purple Porsche, sandwiched between two McLarens then. We'll see if he can make the move stick on Matt in the number 2 McLaren. Has he got the pace to hold off Texas MC for the duration of this race? 31 minutes remaining. Track temperature dropped again to 24 degrees then. So this might be quite clever from AJS. He hasn't quite got the pace advantage on these front 3, but he has left it this long to make a pit stop, so he's going to be having the freshest tyres and hopefully he can have them in the best operating window. As Texas MC makes a dive up the inside, he's late on the brakes. He doesn't make the move stick, unfortunately. Texas MC, that was a very ambitious move, as he's lost another place then to Dash, who's found his way up the inside then to come round and complete this lap. We've got a big gaggle of cars then at just outside the top 10. Matt's found some breathing space. Texas MC got it all wrong then on the entry to that corner. He overshot himself, overbroke into the corner, and SD12 Dash has found his way past, so Texas with it all to do once again in the Porsche machine. But we'll ride back on board with AJS then, as Wake and Chromedix has found their way past. So P4 is AJS, but he still has a pit stop to make, guys. So he's a bit out of sync right now with these lead runners and riders. But Chromedix is still all over the back of Wake, who's sliding it out of the exit into the final turn. They go. Texas MC comes in for... No, is AJS in for his one and only pit stop as he spins it on pit entry then. That's not in the script. You don't want to be spinning your car on the pit entry. AJS giving the spectators something to look at because it's pouring down with rain at Kyalami on this damp track. 24 degrees is the temperature. 29 minutes remaining in this race. Militant 95 is another one into the pits. I'm not sure why he's got damage on that machine once again then, so I'm not sure where he's picked up that damage. That's happened off screen. He's not going to be happy with how his race has unfolded, is he, Militant 95, which is so unfortunate. So unfortunate. The race lead, he was leading this race for the first half of race number 2, and he had that come together with the Mercedes machine, and it's just gone horribly wrong for him, which is very unfortunate. But THKKR in a race of his own then, 6.3 seconds ahead of Twitch Wake. Chromedix is right with him then, only 0.7 separates Chromedix and Wake. Is a much stronger showing from Chromedix, like I said earlier, he's the one who usually comes under some sort of problem, some driver error, some in-race mishap, which seems to always put him into mid-pack. But he's got the pace to run at the front, and he's showing it now. He's holding his P3 position, having a much cleaner run in this SOP Motorsport event. ADS has certainly dropped off then, 16 seconds further behind. Bentley's running in formation as the Mercedes is getting it all wrong. Ray's Steve on the exit of that corner, as these guys just a bit further behind. We'll ride on board with Dash, Matt and Texas MC, because I believe in all of this battle has where's AJS just reappeared? Is he reappeared with those guys? He has indeed, yes. So AJS finds himself down in 14th, I believe, because he's just behind the McLaren duo of Dash and Matt, with Texas MC then holding that 15th position. So Chromedix has just dropped off the back of Wake then. 1.7 seconds is the gap. He must have made a mistake on the previous lap. Or Wake has found that that perfect operating window once again in that Porsche machine, and he's been able to put the hammer down and get some breathing space once again to secure that second place position. So ADS then just making his way past some back markers, just moving out of the way. Blue flags would have been waved. They don't want to be getting in the way and impeding any other drivers, as the Mercedes gets it all a bit sideways, and he's not happy with how that Mercedes is set up. He's running at the rear of the field is Shaka Zulu. Shaka Zulu and Ruster Rebel and Jay Watson are your P16, 17 and 18. We have lost two drivers, guys, due to connection issues, which is very unfortunate. But THKKR then out in front, hasn't put a foot wrong all race. Can't take it away from him. He's pulled a 6-second gap to Wake. They entered the pits together, but they exited, and Wake just could not keep up with THKKR. And that just goes to show how much speed THKKR has, because Militant 95 is holding P10, but THKKR is coming around to lap him. Obviously Militant had to make that extra stop once again for damage. Not sure where he picked that up, the camera didn't see it unfortunately. But Storm Loaded's now made his way up into the top 10, and he found himself just outside the top 10 all race. But he is the beneficiary of other people's misfortunes. Death Zone up into P8, then he's having a strong showing. AJS settles back up into P7. Ray Steve having a strong showing in the Mercedes-Benz. He's found himself up into P6. J Mir and ADS, the duo Bentleys, in 4th and 5th. Chromedix, the lone Lamborghini, he's just drifted away now from Wake. So we've got THKKR and Wake, the two Porsche machines, holding the top two positions. 5.8 seconds is the gap to your race leader. 4 seconds further behind is Chromedix, so something's not right with that Lamborghini. He's not happy behind the wheel to be dropping back at that rate. 23 minutes remaining, guys. ADS, J-Mir. We'll ride on board with J-Mir then. He's found himself up into P5. He's having a strong showing, J-Mir. So J-Mir did qualify quite the way down the field. We will try and catch that, but unfortunately we won't see it on this stream because Assetto Corsa Competizione decided to check us out of the Race 2 Part 1 stream, so we're here with a second stream for race number 2. So THKKR having some love in the YouTube chat then. Should be comfortable from here, they're saying. Out in the lead. Comfortably out in the lead. 5.6 seconds is the gap to Wake in second, the number 55 machine. Who's now pulled the gap to Chromedix. Chromedix has definitely dropped off in the Lamborghini. 5 seconds is the gap now, so he's really struggling to keep that Lamborghini in the perfect operating window. We'll ride on board with ADS. Holding 4th down now, 16 seconds further behind, but not under any stress or trouble, so he's just got to keep it on the tarmac. So get in the chat, guys, who do you think deserves to be driver of the day this time around for race number 2 of the Coach Dave Academy sponsored SOP Motorsport event? People are saying J Mer, THKKR. So as I was saying, guys, this is a sponsored event by Coach Dave Academy, brought to you by Dave Perrell. So on offer we do have 2 different bundles for your 2 driver of the days from race 1 and race 2. We have the track map bundle, which gives you highly detailed and incredibly accurate track maps. So you can write down your secrets and keep them safe for future reference. This will help you improve your racecraft and knowledge for every single track in Assetto Corsa Competizione. And we have obviously the ACC race setup, so you will receive a qualifying and race trim setup for every single track, the car of your choice. AJ to the P was your winner last time round, and he certainly paid dividends in the races that followed, because he picked up 2 race wins in succession using Coach Dave Academy setups. He was featuring in race 1, but it just didn't go his way. He had to make an extra he made his mandatory pit stop, but he found himself in the pit stops again for some unknown reason, which we will find out at a later date once I speak with him. But it was uncharacteristic to see him running at the rear of the field. But Bentley's having a strong showing once again in this race, running 4th and 5th. So if Chromedix isn't careful then in the Lamborghini, he's going to have ADS breathing down his neck very, very soon, because we've got 20 minutes remaining and he is just dropping back from Twitch Wake every single lap that goes by. And Wake is now actually closing ever so slightly on THKKR. But 5 seconds is the gap to the race leader. THKKR leads them round for another lap completed, then lap number 40 with 19 minutes remaining, guys. 23 degrees is the track temperature. Track conditions are damp, so these guys are going to be finding it tricky. It's not quite dry, it's not quite wet. They don't really know what setup to choose. It's one of those situations that can catch a driver out. And it's one of those situations that can see multiple drivers running multiple different strategies, and that's why we might see such a spread of drivers in this field. But Wake is now only 4.5 seconds to a THKKR, so he's closed up ever so slightly. Nothing to concern THKKR out in front right now. as everyone's found themselves in a race of their own then. Everyone's spread out, everyone's not under any pressure. They've just got to churn these laps out for 17 more minutes. No real battles developing. We're right on board with Militant 95 then, the unlucky racer this time around. He was leading race number 2. He was having a fantastic battle with Wake, but we were robbed of that battle because some back markers got in the way during a blue flag situation coming to the end of one of the laps, and there was a coming together between Militant 95 and the Mercedes-Benz guys of Shaka Zulu and Resta Rebel, which was very, very unfortunate. Militant 95 had to pit for damage, and he picked up some extra damage later on in the race, which saw him enter the pits for a second time. So he finds himself holding P10 in this race after leading early on. Jay Watso is your final runner and rider in the BMW machine. Resta Rebel is into the pits. This isn't a mandatory pit stop, so he's going to be out of the running. Shaka Zulu is there in 16th. Matt is holding 15th then. He's dropped back from Dash. They were running side by side, Dash and Matt, so he's dropped down to 15th. Hate to Spray is up to 14th in the Audi. Texas MC is up to 13th, so he's having a bit of a comeback in the number 63 machine. Dash 12 is in 12th in the number 12 machine, so all the 12s from Dash here today. NTZ, who's got some front end damage on that Audi, is just outside the top 10. The South African on home soil. Militant 95, Storm Loaded, Mr. Death Zone, AJS, Ray Steve, Jamer, ADS, and then Chromedix is the first of the podium runners and riders, followed by Twitch Wake in second and THKKR, who leads the field around. Wake's now settled. 5 seconds is the gap from THKKR, so THKKR just managing that gap then. He saw it closing ever so slightly, so he's just picked up the pace once again. Chromedix has now dropped to 11 seconds back, with ADS 14 seconds further adrift. He's not making much headway with 15 minutes remaining. ADS hasn't got the pace to close up just yet. We are riding on board with the Lamborghini number 48 machine, Chromedix then. He's kept it clean all race, Chromedix. He hasn't really put a foot wrong. He executed his one mandatory pit stop and he's found himself into 3rd place. Nice strong showing from Chromedix. Wake uncharacteristically was out of sorts in the Porsche momentarily halfway into this race, and he's found himself then 5 seconds adrift of THKKR, but he seemed to have settled himself once again and he's back in a rhythm in that Porsche machine. THKKR then does lead him around for another time. 42 laps complete in race number 2 at Kyalami with 14 minutes remaining. He's looking for a move up the inside. Does the BMW machine get out of the way? He certainly does then. Good sportsmanship shown from Jay Watso as THKKR navigates the final 2 turns then to come around to start lap number 44. So what would you say is the trickiest car to drive in these conditions? Does AMG Dens? Hashtag random question time in the comments. Well, actually, in pure wet conditions, the Porsche is a notorious car to handle. Currently, these cars won't vary much different compared to if it was a dry race. So The Porsches are going to be strong either way because it's not pure wet conditions, it's not dry conditions, it's just outside of that dry operating window, which is still going to be perfect for the Porsche machine. You'll find Bentleys are strong in all conditions, they're strong over long race distances, they're good on fuel consumption, so you'll always find a Bentley near the front of the field in these longer race distances. I mean, just on pure scientific evidence from race number 1 and 2, the McLarens have struggled a lot. They've been outside the top 10 in race 1 and 2. The Ferrari is another car which is a good all-round car. It's not the strongest in any field, it's not the weakest in any field. So if you just want a nice, strong, stable car to choose, which will get you to the finish line in a strong position, you could choose the Ferrari. The Mercedes I personally find a handful to drive. I don't like driving a Mercedes. It's one of those cars that if you've got it in the right operating window, it's very, very stable, but as soon as you're just a fraction outside that window, they're very hard to drive and control. I think that's why I mentioned it in race number 1. Ampio is trying out some different machinery compared to what he's driving in the Pro Series, because he picked the Mercedes for the Pro Series, but one of the rules and regulations is you cannot change car mid-season, and so he picked the Ferrari, and he ended up being P4 after he was battling for P2 for much of the race in race number 1. But you'll always find Porsches at the front of the field, whatever the situation, because they're just such a popular car. The Lamborghini is notorious to get on top of, but those who do make it work find themselves running at the front of the field. Chromatics being one of them this time around. So 10 minutes remaining, guys. Wake is only 3.3 seconds adrift from THKKR. Can he close that gap before the race end? Has THKKR just come under some... yeah, he just had to get past the back marker, so that might be why he's just lost a bit of time, as he seemed to have just sliding that car then round the final 2 turns. Has he just lost that perfect operating window then in the Porsche? As that gap has come right down, then you can see Wake in the rear view of THKKR. Less than 3 seconds is the gap then with 10 minutes remaining. We're going to see a late charge from Wake. We'll watch that battle very, very closely, as Chromatics is 15 seconds adrift of those top 2 then, so he's dropped back. As ADS is coming around to negotiate the final corner, he's too far back with 9 minutes remaining to be able to catch Chromatics, as THKKR has responded then. Wake has dropped to 3.1 seconds, so it's very much tit for tat between those two. It was fluctuating between 2.9 3.1. 3 seconds seems to be the comfort zone right now. THKKR just picked the pace back up for the final 9 minutes of race number 2. Track conditions dropping once again 22 degrees, so as Wake just found himself in the perfect tyre operating window, and THKKR has found himself outside of that window in the changing conditions. We'll see what the delta times say. 2.3 seconds is the gap. Wake from THKKR, so he's clawed almost 1 whole second in 1 lap. This is certainly going to be a battle come the finish line. Can he catch him with 8 minutes remaining? Squeaky bum time out front, that Guitar 2 says in chat. Indeed it will be for THKKR. He'll see his delta times. He'll know that Wake is closing rapidly on that race lead, as THKKR once again responds to Wake picking up the pace in 3.4 seconds is the gap then, so Not sure what's happened there. Wake got it all wrong in the final sector as the gap has just gone back up to 3.5 seconds, so Wake with it all to do. Was he pushing too hard? As he does find himself out onto the grass on the exit. And I was speaking to Wake earlier this week. He does like to run a very loose setup on that Porsche machine, so maybe it's coming back to bite him now in these changeable conditions. "17 runners and riders left then with 7 minutes remaining rather. Jay Watso brings up the rear of the field in that BMW machine. Resta Rebel and Shaka Zulu, they've been pretty closely matched in this race, but Hater Spray is just ahead then in the Audi. Texas MC in that pink and purple machine, the number 63 machine, seems to have formed a bit of a partnership with AJS because they're running same liveries, number 63, number 64. And we also seen that with THKKR and ENTDI, who got disconnected this race. They were also running the same livery, so some form of team partnership developed between those two also. But Twitch Wake has dropped back again then, 4 seconds is the gap. THKKR has responded very nicely out in front, just managing that race lead then, just managing his tyres, doing what he needs to do. ERS Chromatics coming around for another lap in P3. A bit of drift of the lead in two now, 17.7 is the gap. ADS and J Mur are your Bentley machines holding 4th and 5th. Rays is 6th. Mr. Death Zone's moved up to 7th. Storm Loaded's 8th. Militant 95 is 9th. AGS rounds out the top 10. NTZ, the South African on home soil, in 11th. Dash in 12th. Texas in 13th, Hater Spray 14th, Shaka Zulu 15th, Resta Rebel 16th, and Jay Watso bringing up the rear of the field. But we're right on board with ADS for this lap then in the Bentley machine. 5 minutes remaining, guys. Is there going to be any late drama in race number 2 of the Coach Dave Academy sponsored event? Let me know in the chat. Yeah, so driver of the day looking tight between J-Mir and THKKR. THKKR started 3rd and has moved up to 1st in a flawless race, I must say. J-Mir has also made moves today to find himself up into P5. And I do just want to reiterate, guys, this driver of the day doesn't just have to go to your race winner, but when a driver, as we do have a massive collision further behind them, as I did just pick that up, Mr. Death Zone, I believe that was with Wake. Wake has had it coming together then, trying to get past some back markers, so we're having a bit of problems in this race, guys, with back markers and blue flags. More patience needs to be shown, guys. 4 minutes remaining. He's not a happy bunny, Mr. Death Zone. He's had a spin, he's lost some places. There was a couple of cars in the mix there. I missed who else was facing the wrong way, but Mr. Death Zone was one of them, and Twitch Wake was also one of them. As we have lost Matt, who has just appeared into the stream. Unlucky Matt. Were you just disconnected there, or did you end your own race, Matt? Let us know in the chat. So we'll let the timing deltas... oh, another coming together then. Mr. Death Zone and the Bentley. Who's that? Stormload and Mr. Death Zone having a bit of a tussle there over P7. Mr. Death Zone not a happy bunny then. He was spun around. It didn't need to happen. There was not much drama going on. Once again, commentator's curse strikes. in this race as Mr. Death Zone was facing the wrong way. Someone else was facing the wrong way. A back marker gets out of the way. Stormload is putting him under pressure, looking for a way past. He can't quite make it move. Mr. Death Zone clips the sausage curb into the gravel. It's all happening here further down the field. Stormloaded looking for a move up the inside then. Does he do the switchback? Has he got the move done? He gets into the slipstream there, guys. Oh my word, I need to catch my breath. Here we go. So the ending to this race is nothing but exciting because Mr. Death Zone all wide once again, and the Bentley of Stormloaded looking for a move. Can't quite make it past. But Mr. Death Zone spins once again. He's not going to be happy. He found himself facing the wrong way in the last race that we had also, and he found himself in the steward's room. Internet connection quality currently not sufficient, so we don't want that at the end of the race, guys. 1 minute remaining, leader on the final lap. THKKR hasn't put a foot wrong all race. We'll ride on board with him to finish this event off. 1 minute remaining, he is on his final lap. THKKR leads them round. He hasn't put a foot wrong. He's had the pace. I wouldn't like to say he's inherited the lead because he put a move on Wake nice and clean, all on his own merit, but Militant 95 had it all to do after he was spun out and got picked up damage from the race lead. But you can only play the cards that you are dealt. Chromedix is there in third. ADS is fourth. J-Mirror is fifth. Ray Steve is 6th. Stormloaded is now up to P7. Obviously found his way past Mr. Death Zone, who was a spinner. Militant 95 has moved back up to P8 then. As we are coming round with the race leader. The final lap of the race, guys. Give him a round of applause. THKKR, the final 2 turns to navigate. As the leader does finish his race. Fantastic racing throughout this then. THKKR takes the win. Twitchwake is home in second. ERS Chromedix will cross the line in third. ADS will pick up fourth. J-Mir is there in fifth. And the checker flag is waving for those a bit further down the field who didn't cross the finish line in front of the race leader, so they won't get to complete a final lap. As we have Militant 95 facing the wrong way on pit exit. So thank you for tuning in for race 2, guys. It's been a pleasure. I will love you and leave you and see you in the Discord chat to discuss who we think gets driver of the day from race number 1 and race number 2. Thank you very much, guys. This has been a SOP Motorsport event sponsored by Coach Dave Academy.